Welcome to Club 120, the ultimate roundtable for diehard Cubs fans and lovers of all things sports and lifestyle.
Strike three, you're out.
Hosted by Neil and Nate, two former baseball players and coaches turned loud mouths with strong opinions and even stronger banner. Get ready for quick-hitting, time-answer segments packed with wit, laughs, and the occasional heated debate. From analyzing Cubs on-field action to diving into off-field drama, no topic is off limits. So grab your glove, pour a drink, and pull up a seat at Club 120, where the banner's quick, the takes are hot, and the Cubs always come first. Let's get started.
Play ball.
Hello, Cubs friends. It's 120. You know what that means. Time to grab an old style and a bleacher seat. You're in Club 120. Let's talk Cubs. I'm Nate, and with me as always is a man who doesn't need a groundhog to tell him spring training starts in just 7 days. Neil, what's on today's lineup card?
Yeah, I was ready to warm up the smoker and throw that groundhog on it. I can tell you that. It's I'm tired of winter. I am ready to not be cold anymore. Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. However it is you take in Club 120, we appreciate you. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for you. So thank you. We got a full show today. Spring training vibes. I mean, I think we are the 11th is when there. So we're right at a week, and so we're going to open it up with Sunrise and Mesa Time, and then it's Rumors Die Hard, a duel in the desert, flexible or frustrating, and finally our topic of the week is some NL Central chat. Are the Cubs actually good or just good for the division? All right, man. Sunrise Mesa Time. Topic number one. What do you got?
Well, I tell you, let's open it with a good question here, because I think it'll give us some perspective as the sun rises on Mesa, really. What is the one word that defines this club spring training for you?
Oh, man. I would say, can I go 2 words? Like a phrase?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, we can put it on a t-shirt or a throw pillow.
Okay,
anything.
so right. So here's the thing. It's if I have to stick to one word, it's optimistic. If I can stretch it out to 2 words, I'm going to say cautiously optimistic. I like it. I like where we're at. I like where the roster's at. I like a lot of things about it. I like that we're still making headlines on, are we making moves? Are we not making moves? Usually we're not even in that conversation anymore. We're so upset with what happened in the offseason that we're just like, okay, just Cubs Twitter, give me some pictures of these guys showing up to take my mind off how bad the offseason was. And I feel differently. I feel better about where we are as a lineup. I feel better about where we are as a roster. So I'm cautiously optimistic. What about you?
Well, I would say as we left last year, and I'll take your 2 words. I like the 2 word because it looks better on a shirt anyway. Last year I would have said we left 2025 with house money. I think the kids played above their age. Some guys, we said 90 wins is what we were looking for. We nailed it, right? We did what we were supposed to do. We played with house money. Nobody said World Series or bust. This is the plan, right? This year, I would say it's peer pressure. And here's why. Deferred payments. Everybody's doing it, right? Trade your top prospects. Everybody's doing it. We did. Be a playoff team again. There's pressure there. Roster competition, bullpen innings. I mean, there's 5 dudes in the bullpen right now that are expecting to get innings, and they got more than 40 plus innings last year. I mean, every position group is loaded, and if it's not loaded, there's a prospect back there in our top 5 waiting. So, yeah, optimistic, sure, love it. I love the competition and I love the pressure, and I think that we're going to find out pretty early how these guys really took to it. And it seems as we head into to Mesa, everybody's already there. Like there's not, somebody's arriving. Like they're here a week early plus. I don't even know if Justin Steele lives in Mississippi anymore. I know he bought that new house, but man, that dude's been in Mesa the entire offseason. It's unreal. So there's a lot of pressure to perform, and I love it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I saw Nico's there. I saw Matt Shaw is there. I saw PCA is there. I did hear somebody today make a noticeable thing about Bregman not being there. I'm not worried about that at all. You know, I think who you would consider our leaders in the clubhouse, Bregman, Dansby, and Ian Happ are all not there. And I don't put any stock into that. I think they're going to come. I think they're going to come prepared. I think they're going to be ready to do their thing. Nobody ever has questioned Dansby Swanson's work ethic. And so I'm not worried at all about him not being there or any of these other guys not being there. I did see somebody posted some pictures of Bregman taking in some sort of museum in Scottsdale. So I know he's in town, and I'll be honest with you. I don't really care. Like, I hope these guys go have fun at the Waste Management this weekend and then take Monday and Tuesday to recover from that. And then let's go air it out on the 11th when you're supposed to be there, and that's even pitchers and catchers. The real roster doesn't even have to be there yet.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Bregg's side of the story, I mean, his spring trainings have all been Florida based. So he's got a house shop, he's not going to stay in the dorms. Okay. He's got plenty to do here. So let's let him get settled in Scottsdale. Yeah. It's a good, fun week to do it anyway with the Super Bowl and the Waste Management. Good time to be there and introduce the Phoenix side of spring training to Bregman.
Okay. Well, so speaking of optimism, rumor season never sleeps. We've got rumors die hard is topic number 2. Which rumor do you think actually has legs, right? There's Shaw to Boston. There's the Zach Gallen stuff is still floating around out there. Any of these rumors in your mind have legs?
Yes. And here's why. I think that the Gallen deal early in the offseason, I think that was real. I think there was some real traction there. But then I think that they got some real traction where they wanted to be in the Edward Cabrera deal. And so then they kind of said, well, what if this is good enough? And it really never died. So I guess the question is this rotation solid? Are we 6-man solid? Are Justin Steele is not our superhero that we need, but we love to have excess. So are we done in the rotation or not, Neil? Are you happy with what we got here?
Yeah, I think we're done. I don't know if that's true. I don't know that to be true. I'm just guessing, but I really do think we're done. And I've said that for a couple of weeks because I do think that there is some money left to be spent at the deadline when you see what you want and you know what you need and you can address it at that point. Like I said, we have no idea what's going to. Michael Bush could tear a hammy or bust an ankle trying to leg out, a single, and then all of a sudden what we need to address at the deadline completely changes the blueprint or whatever. So I don't put too much. I think we're done. I really do. But speaking of Shaw, if you saw any of the footage of him taking BP, now I get it, guys throwing 65 miles an hour from 45 feet, but he was absolutely hitting tanks.
Yeah.
0 leg kick. I mean, looks like a different hitter up there. And he looks like the power hitter that he once was.
A lot of balance. That's what I noticed. There's a lot of balance and a lot of compactness in that swing. It's almost like he spent the offseason kind of studying Bregman's just 1-2 inside the ball approach. I mean, it's just load and go versus his. I think he chased a lot last year, when you watch, and as they did this probably through video analysis, they just watched him falling. How do we fix that? And I think they locked him in, and it looks good. It really does. Now back to the rumors, though, Neil. I think this is a little insider trading from old Craig. Craig called Jed and said, hey, I remember all those models that we had on the wall. One of them was if we spend big, some of these guys have to go away. I remember that part. So we talk about Matt Shaw now that you've spent. And I really do. I think he knows that inside and out. He knows where the pressure point is. I don't think it's for Nico. I think it's for Shaw. He wants some long-term ability. He wants to win a trade, quote unquote, with a prospect. But the good news is that Jed knows Craig inside and out. And so I think Craig's really holding out for a controllable arm that would make the Gallen thing go away, right? Like immediately. But I think that's where we're at. It's a standoff, and I don't think Jed's willing to part with anything right now, especially his flexibility on the infield.
All right, so you addressed the Matt Shaw deal. What about Gallen? Do you think that's real?
Yeah, I think it's never gone away. I think it's just smoldering there. And I think that there's a deal on the table that the Cubs are comfortable with. And I think Zach Gallen Zach's got to really get comfortable with it. Because it's probably not where he wants to be. And that's it. I think that the low-key side move, if you're going to sign a starter here, I don't think you have to commit to a guy like Gallen for 4 or 5 years. I think you can get a Zach Littell, who was with the Reds there at the end of the year. I think you get him for a 1 in your option year type of deal. And if you felt like that's what you needed right now, that's a guy that throws a heavy ball, keeps it in the park, and it's a great option. That's going to be way cheaper than Zach Gallen, in my opinion.
All right. Well, whether rumors come true or not, the competition on the field is very real. We have a duel in the desert, vets versus prospects. Man, if a prospect outplays a vet all spring, do they automatically get the job?
Ooh. No. You played ball. If your senior's there and he's healthy, he's going to play. And you have to find a way, right? It makes it harder, but you'll find a way to figure out the rest of it. But 9 out of 10 times, there's going to have to be some moving of mountains to move a guy like Dansby Swanson off of a shortstop or a Nico Horner off of a second base who's just a perennial all-star. It's just not going to happen. So these battles are real. It would have been really interesting, Neil, if Owen Casey was still here, because there would have been a lot more battles here in discussion. But I broke it down into 2 places. So let's talk about these battles and tell me what you think. The bullpen and then the 4th outfield position. Those would be my 2 biggest deals. I think everything else is pretty solid. We're okay with having 2 catchers. We've already done this before. So your bullpen battle has the kids, Wicks, Little, Brown, Riley Martin, Neely, Javi Assad, right? Those guys are all expecting some opportunity. Your veteran pool that have been signed for 40-man spots are Harvey, Maton, and Milner. 2 more guys that are invited. Obviously, these guys actually are on the 40-man too, Webb and Rollison. Those guys all had at least 40 innings last year. So who steps up? Are the kids going to overtake these guys? Do the kids even have the stuff to move these guys? What bullpen juggling is going to happen here for these kids to get an opportunity?
Yeah, I think, you and I spend a lot of time on the Space Coast, and that new train they put down there, that's Orlando to Miami. I believe they're building the same train from Chicago to Iowa, because I think we're going to play the cards all year long with ups and downs, and I think maybe every day you see someone who wasn't on the 26 yesterday and some sort of move that happened for another relief arm. Because I think, we talk about rumors and stuff like that in the last segment, but I mean, that's a full house down there. It's a full house down there, and it's overflowing. If we're being honest, it's more than full. So I think there's going to be guys that aren't on the 26 that are going to be promised some frequent flyer miles, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. Which of those guys, from a Cubs kid standpoint, are you really excited to watch here over the next month and a half to see if they really did make the jump?
So not on the, not on the pitching side. I mean, well, I guess on the pitching side, I've seen a lot of stuff that Tread Athletics been throwing out there of Wicks. I can't wait to see if that stuff dances in real life the way it does on those clips that they keep putting out. I mean, that stuff looks electric. And Wicks has been around a long time, so he's not necessarily a kid, but he's never been a consistent stay on the 26. So I think he can challenge for a spot, and I'm really excited to see if that's real. As far as the bat side, we talked about Johnny Long last week, and man, I would love to see if that bat is for real.
Well, I think that'll be that's a position battle there with Tyler Austin. We kind of highlighted that last week. That'll be interesting to see how that goes. But with Johnny Long's option ability, I think he starts at AAA, and that's unfortunate for him that deck stacked that way already against him for the spring. So hopefully he still rakes, though, because it is fun to watch him barrel up baseballs. Question about the outfield. Are you comfortable with running Kevin Alcantara out there and saying this is our guy for the future no matter what, and somehow he's going to get 400 at-bats?
No, I think Alcantara starts in AAA. I really do. I think I think this is no inside information or anything. I just believe that we're going to ride Seiya out in right field. And I think Matt Shaw is going to be that fourth outfielder. Just from everything I'm hearing. So I don't think Alcantara is taking a roster spot from a guy in the bullpen or somebody else and becoming a fifth outfielder if Shaw truly is the other option. The other thing I will add, I opened with the question, if a prospect outplays a vet all spring, do we give him the job? I think we had a case study in that firsthand last year when Kyle Tucker went 0 for spring and was still starting opening day. So
right. Yeah. That's true. I forgot, man, he's so forgettable.
Right. Yeah. All right. So, okay. Well, if everybody's playing well, Craig's got a different problem. Or is it flexible or frustrating? Frustrating. Man, I have a hard time with that word. Can Craig give enough ABs and innings to keep everybody happy? That's kind of what you were talking about with Alcantara.
Well, here's the thing about ABs, and this is the biggest problem from a coaching level standpoint, is how many ABs does it take to keep player A or B consistently good and seeing the ball the way that they want to and being able to contribute. And so that's probably the hardest thing to do, right? Is to sit around for 6 innings, 7 innings and get a pinch hit. Just get up there and some dude's throwing 100 with a exploding 91 mile an hour slider, but go get him, champ. There is a problem of how many at-bats that these prospects get before they can really be evaluated for what they are. And we're at that point with guys like Matt Shaw. We'll get a huge view of how that looks for PCA in a second full season. And obviously Mo Baller going in to get his first, few hundred at-bats now. So how Craig does this is going to be very interesting. As a coach, when you have a ton of talent, Neil, what do you do? What's your strategy built around when you have guys that can just deliver, but there's just not enough, quote, position specificity for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I have been kicking that can around for since midway through season 1 of recording this show. I think, the difference between roster versatility and defined roles, like it's a fine line, right? Like, and I don't know where when you decide you're going to ride with these guys, and this is my everyday guy, to where, I were very frustrated last year with the amount of ABs and starts that Michael Busch got, because his defined role was a platoon player when there's a lefty on the mound, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know where that line is with Craig. That's hard to find.
Don't you wish he would give like notes after he turns the lineup card in? Didn't play because lefty, or he comes back after the game and has to give notes afterwards and match. Hey, what happened here? Well, I did this because the binder said so. The good news is, Neil, is that all 5 of these guys from Busch all the way around the infield, including Shaw in the utility role, all of them play defense. They play it really good. And so the only question that we have is, will Shaw do well in his transition towards the utility role as far as outfield is concerned, right? Ian Happ did it great. He's winning Gold Gloves late, middle of his career, late in his career. So if Shaw can be consistently good out there, then the flexibility is easy, right? Because everybody could use a day off. And I know we whine about it, but
let me ask you.
Sorry.
No, so I just wanted to ask you, as a former player, would you rather have a defined role, or would you rather be a Zobrist that has just the maximum amount of flexibility?
I'm a weird. I liked hitting where I like to hit. I'm a very routine guy, so for me that's a tough question to answer, and it sounds awful. But my whole goal as a player was to work myself into a position that wasn't a question.
No, I don't think that's. I think there's a lot of guys like that. I don't think that sounds awful. I think that sounds like I want to put blinders on and focus on my job,
Mhm.
and I want
Yeah,
to do my job the best I can. Where Matt Shaw's got to have the most odd spring ever. I mean, think about last year. Matt Shaw, the focus on Matt Shaw was, can he play third base? So he took reps before practice at third base. He took reps during practice at third base. He took reps during the game at third base. And then in the evening, he was coming back and taking reps at third base because everybody had to know, can Matt Shaw play third base? So he was laser focused on playing third base. This spring is completely different. Matt Shaw has to do it all and show that he can do it all at a major league level. So I think, there might be some guys that thrive on that, and there might be I think the majority of the guys are like you that say, I'd rather just have my job and do my job well.
Yep. Question here before we run on. As far as the frustration level, when you talk about these kids and their expectations, uh, just a quick yes or no. Do Matt Shaw and Mo Baller both get 400 at bats this year or more?
I say Matt Shaw, yes. Mo Baller is about 50 AB short, if you ask me.
Okay. Do you think that's performance based, or is that just Craig's matchup based?
I think that's like you said, coming out of spring training, you got a senior who's. I think Matt Shaw has 1 year of experience on Mo Baller, so he gets the nod first in most situations where they're both available to pinch hit. The nod's going to go to Matt first, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that brings us to the topic of the week. The big picture NL Central. Are we good, or are we just NL Central good?
Ooh. Ouch. Okay. We spent a lot of money, so we should be good, right?
Yeah, did you see the graphic about I don't know who it was, MLB.com or somebody was giving grades
Okay.
to everyone in the division?
Ooh, so they broke down the Central? Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think there was anybody higher than like a C minus except for us.
Well, when you trade your number one in Milwaukee, you're not going to win the offseason. That's not going to be a good grade. I mean, we can knock out a couple of grades real quick. I mean, that's a killer. Now they got back a good haul, right? They got back 2 top 5 prospects. They're Mets number 1 arm and the Mets number 1 position player. So you can't really, complain about what they got back. But for impact now, geez, that's terrible. Pirates are Pirates. The sneaky team here is the Reds, Neil, and we talked about this ad nauseum last year. I don't know if it was ad nauseum. It was actually fun to break down our division, that we weren't even paying attention to the Milwaukee Brewers winning 326 games in a row. We were worried about Tito and the Reds.
Well, so I will say the graphic, I did notice that the graphic came out that gave the Reds like a C minus, came out before they signed Suarez.
Okay.
So I would imagine their grade went up.
I mean, a $15 million deal there. They were in on Schwarber, right? So they had a bag of cash they were willing to do. If Schwarber said yes, they were all in. So, they didn't take away anything from their rotation. They added to their bullpen, and they got a bat. And, man, that's a scary group. So, we spent bigger, but I think the Reds might have spent smarter, Neil.
All right. Well, so let me piggyback that question with the real question, and that is, are the Cubs a legit NL contender?
Okay.
Or are they just the best team in a weak division?
We're a legit NL contender. We've got some questions to answer, but this roster wasn't built to just win the Central this year, Neil. I really believe it. And in fact, if you look at this scenario, I think the model that Jed has and they're rolling out with and the binder and everything is not built for what position you're in. It's built to be where you're at 162. right? And that model says 90 plus wins. There was a miracle last year with Milwaukee. Like, that was unbelievable. But barring somebody going to 100 wins, which I don't foresee in this division, I think it's a foregone. It's there for us to have. So now, yes, we're going to contend. Here's my flip question to you. If you drop the Cubs in the National League East, we already talked about the West too much. You drop the Cubs in the National League or the American League East, are they still a contender?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Because right now I think the Braves are the second in playoff probability. The Mets made a bunch of moves. Obviously, the Phillies are there in the East.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
To me, I think we're there. I think we man, it's when you break things down and you start looking at it, you're like, man, I'm so excited. And then you're like, okay, well, this or that. No, man, we're there. I think they did it. And I think you're right. I think what was your original word back to the beginning? What was your word of the spring training?
Cautious optimism.
Boom. I love it.
I'm putting it on a t-shirt just for you.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, that's all we have for today. That's all we have for this week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. However it is you take us in, we appreciate it. And we look forward to next week. We will have, we record on Wednesday. So Wednesday will be the day that they all report, the pitchers and catchers report to spring training. So I'm definitely looking forward to recording that episode. So we will see you next week. Go Cubs, go.
Go Cubs, go.
This has been Club 120. Neil and Nate have practically spent their entire lives doing something centered around baseball. And with these guys, you're going to get quick-hitting, time-answer segments packed with wit, laughs, and, yes, heated debates. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, you can find us on all social media platforms at Club 120 Show. And, of course, the website at www.club120show.com. Until next time, go Cubs, go!